All right, all my Dutch friends, we're going to make some Pepernoten or Kruidnoten. I think the Kruidnoten is the correct term for the little hard, round Dutch treats that you get for Sinterklaas. So we're going to make these and they taste fantastic. Dry ingredients, we're just going to get those in the mixer first. We're going to start with 1.5 cups of flour. If I need more as we're mixing, I have some set aside just in case we need it. I have 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of ground almonds or almond flour. So those are your dry ingredients, plus 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon baking powder. For the wet ingredients, we're going to add our spices into our honey, molasses, and water mixture. I have 1/2 cup of liquid honey. If you don't have liquid honey and only a harder honey, I would melt it so that you could get your spices mixed in with that, because you want those flavors to be able to mix really well in there. So I have 1/2 cup of liquid honey, 1 tablespoon of water, and I have 2 tablespoons of molasses to give it that rich flavor. And to that, I'm going to add all our good Dutch spices. So I have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon allspice. So those are what are going to go into our liquids here, and we're just going to stir them up because we want those to be mixed in really well, because you want it all blended nice and well together. So we're going to get these ones in the mixer along with our egg, and we're just going to it's just to dump everything in the mixer and go. So just want to get this one mixed in. Smells wonderful with all those spices. All right. So we're going to get our egg in there. And our honey, molasses, and water with all the spices. Oh, it smells so good. I'm just going to start this mixing. It takes a little bit for it to come together. There's no fat in here. There's no butter or shortening or anything like that in here. The only thing that's holding everything together would be your honey and your egg. Those are the wet ingredients. So it's very interesting to me that it's a cookie type thing that has no butter in it. So as you can see, it's dry on the bottom. Just give it the time it needs, because you want all of that dough to come mixed together. And to me it still looks a little bit sticky, so I'm going to slowly start adding a bit more flour. That's another 1/4 cup, so I'm up to 1 3/4. And just going to see how that feels. Yeah, that's pretty good. So 1 3/4, plus we're going to also add some to our counter as we roll it out. So this is our mixture, and we're going to get this out of the mixer, and we're going to roll this on the counter. I wonder if I might need a little bit more flour yet. It's quite soft, so it's kind of hard to explain, but this is still, you know what, I think I'm going to add that rest of that flour, because I do want that to be stiff enough for me to roll. Otherwise it's going to really stick to my counter quite a bit. I still will need a little bit of flour on my counter to roll that out. So we are up to 2 cups of flour. All right, so you want to make sure you have your counter lightly floured. And I've only just taken a little ball of dough, and you want to roll this out to about 3/4 of an inch at the most. And we're slicing about, it's almost 1/2 inch here. So as you can see, these are just small little cookies. But once you bake them up, they puff up nice. So I've got, I think, 88 on a cookie sheet here, 8 by 11. Make sure you put it on parchment paper. It'll make it easier to get them off later on. We're going to bake these in a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. And you want them to get crunchy. So when you pull them out of the oven, they may not be quite hard all the way, but they will harden as they cool down. And after they're cold, if they're not quite all the way hard enough, then make sure your next batch, you just add another minute or so until you get the perfect Perfect time for your oven. So give these ones a try. I'll show you what they look like as they're baking. But it's just amazing how these little cookies, how much they puff up. It's so fun. All right, so our Pepernoten or Kruidnoten are out of the oven. My first batch that came out, I want them a hair crunchier, so I put these ones in for 11 minutes instead of 10 minutes. But let them cool down. If you need, you can even do 12 minutes. Just check with your oven. So taking them out, they're soft a little bit yet. They will crunch up as they cool. So you might have to play with your time a little. So I've got 4 cookie sheets full. So 88 cookies, that's over 350 little Pepernoten cookies. So give them a try. These are just a wonderful treat, especially for Cinder class coming up. And I've got the recipe on the counter there.